Okay, great. So guys, welcome everybody. And as you know, the agenda, as I told you, and the subject as well is discussing, nuances of investment banking. And then I also thought to cover some aspects of personal finance with a focus on how to calculate XIRR. See, basically the reason for doing this now after so long was that in the last, if I just look at last 3 months or 4 months, I would have got more than 100 people, I'm very serious, asking me, how to make a career in investment banking. And I can't reply to each one of you. And there would be some people in the audience also that who would have asked me this question and I might have not replied. It's just because, random, first of all, time is a constraint these days. Second is that randomly selected 10 to 15 people and then, kind of just chatted with them and tried to ask them that what is your understanding of what is investment banking? Because I observed the profiles were like, you guys just graduated, maybe in whatever streams, BCom, or even, kind of, a lot of people are like, I'm not from the commerce background, so how do I make a career or transition from a marketing role to an investment banking? All these sorts of questions come. One thing which I've observed a lot is that most of us are not clear what is investment banking. The word is hyped. Everybody knows, everybody wants to get into investment banking, but then what is the life over there? What will you do after you, kind of spend 3, 4, 5 years into investment banking? Although it is not a great question to ask on an entry, what is your exit? But as most of you might be knowing, I have always said, think 10 years ahead in your career. Not like what will I do in next 1 year, but how you see your trajectory in the next 10 years. If things are fitting well, then obviously you will think that after X number of years into whatever role, be it investment banking, private equity, or even a wealth management role, and I'm only talking about the financial services industry, where will you eventually land? It's tough to gauge at the age of 20, 22, 24 that, what will you be eventually doing by the time you reach 30s or 35, because world is changing at a very fast pace. 5 years back, 6 years back, had someone asked me, what would you be doing in 2022? I wouldn't have thought that I would be currently, kind of doing whatever stuff I do at WellDesk. So it's difficult, but you keep, kind of flexible. Keep yourself flexible and keep changing, keep learning new stuff. So I thought, why, rather than, kind of replying to each and every message, just hold this session today. For those who are hearing me for the first time, I will take you through as to what my background has been and why should you actually listen to me. Because in the last 2 years after COVID, there are a lot of self-proclaimed influencers who have been there on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram and all. And I really feel that someone who has no experience in certain field just picks up a textbooks, a theory, and then just, kind of levels it out is not right, because you need to be there to experience all sorts of things. So that is why I just thought that, kind of, I might be, I don't know, you gauge yourself, but I thought I might be the decent person to actually, kind of discuss all these things with you. Someone just, and by the way, I happen to schedule all the meetings on a meeting kind of a format where you guys can see each other, or not see, but at least that whosoever is attending and all. This basic thing is that if you are asking me any questions in the chat box, everybody can see that question, and then it becomes easier for others to also understand what sorts of questions are being asked. And I make it a point to answer each and every query, even if I delay the session by kind of a couple of minutes. After I kind of take you through the investment banking thing, which I have scheduled for, let's say, around 30 or 35 odd minutes, then I will pick up the personal finance stuff, where I will again show you one Excel sheet, which I've already shown you before, shown the, kind of whosoever attended, and it is on my YouTube channel as well. But today the focus will be a little bit about XIRR, because in that session, I did not tell exactly how to calculate XIRR and what is the difference between returns calculation through a CAGR, absolute returns, or XIRR. So I think this should also help you when you are building your own portfolios and calculating and benchmarking your returns, whether you have outperformed the market or not, right? Rather than just trusting your Zerodha account or any account you have, Demat account, or even for the mutual fund sort of thing. So if someone can, kind of just let me know if the screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
So is the entire screen visible, or is just the what do you say, the on the left pane and all? So it's a screen mode, right?
Yes, you can.
Yes, it's the entire screen.
Okay, perfect. So guys, okay. Now to start with, was who I am. Who am I? Why should you listen to me? So see, a little bit of background about mine. Whosoever don't know is that I am an engineer. So I started my engineering in 2005 from JP Institute of Information Technology in Noida. So a lot of people now think that I might be a commerce student, but I had started with engineering in my mind. And the reason for doing engineering was not because I wanted to do something in computer science, but it was very lucrative back then. 2005 I'm talking about. So coming from Lucknow, a conservative tier 2 city family, is that whatever the friends were doing, so no academic great background. My father was a businessman. Then whatever my friends were doing, I also thought to do the same. Class 11th and 12th, I took science. So eventuality was that I do pick up engineering. And I was good at maths. I've always been great at maths, no other subject. So I thought that, let's try. My friends are doing that. I should also give IIT or AIEEE. Exams have changed by now, but I'm talking about that time. So managed to do BTech from CS, but after first year or maybe second year, I just lost the charm. I thought coding is not what I want to do. In my engineering college and most of the engineering colleges, there is one subject which deals with the business side of the things or management side of the things. So there was a course in finance and economics back then in my second year. Then I thought, and I liked it. So I just thought, this is something which I probably want to make my career in. And then I enrolled for, they gave me an opportunity to convert my 4-year degree into a 5-year degree. And I thought, anyways, mera koi IIM to hona nahi hai, because I was bad at studies. So why not, take this opportunity to do my MBA in just 1 year. So I'll start earning at least 1 year prior to what my friends who will be doing a proper 2-year MBA will be doing. So, and coding to karni nahi thi. So I anyways wanted or knew that, I don't want to go to TCS and HCL and Infosys and all. So I enrolled as a part of, 5-year dual degree, which was BTech plus MBA. So I did my MBA in 2009 to 10. So basically 1 year. So my 5-year course was 2005 to 10. And then I thought that, I'll get a great placement and all. But then 2008 recession happened and 2009 was a complete washout in terms of placements. And then in 2010, eventually, when I was passing out, then also the placement scenario was very bad. So even if I know that even at IIMs, people were struggling to getting placed. So it was a long shot that a college which is so new, at least the MBA part was new back then, will, get great placements. So I struggled a lot. But back then in 2010 or 9 or 10, then I understood, because if I need to, do something in my career, as I said, that I was not great at studies till 2009, I would say. But then I thought if I want to differentiate myself, I would want to rather get into, do something extra. This is where I heard about something called CFA in 2009. And then I enrolled for it. And I started liking the subject. Yeah, this is something which I, want to do in my life. So 2010, I cleared my CFA level 1, and then I wasn't getting any jobs. 2008, when this crisis, global financial crisis happened, there was a lot of, I had to start reading Economic Times, because as I told you that I enrolled for my 5-year degree, dual degree program. So I was, we were asked questions in the class that what did you read today in Economic Times? It was very boring back then. And half of the things I did not understand, but then things were that I was, kept reading. And one word which came to me so often when I was reading was investment bank, because, Lehman Brothers was getting crashed, Bear Stearns and this and that. So everywhere it was like investment banking firm, Lehman Brothers. Yeah. So where the world was collapsing around investment bank, I thought, yeah, I want to do investment banking. That was back in 2008, without even knowing and understanding what that is. So that dream was always there. So in 2010, my first job when I cleared CFA level 1 and I thought I'll do something in investment banking, I couldn't get any job, right? So I got this job with the company called the Smart Cube. So I became a data analyst over there, because that was the only position available. And I was like, kuch nahi se kuch sahi. At least I'll do something rather, kind of to earn something rather than asking parents for money back then. And it was a very meager paying job, but then it was something related to statistical tools and analytics, using that, providing some kind of a consultancy to the customers, to the clients basically. And clients were based out of UK and US. And so I thought, okay, whatever it is, I'll keep on hunting for roles into investment banking while, kind of earning at least something rather than sitting just at home. So I took that job, and 1.5 years, or in fact 2 years almost, I worked there. I cracked CFA level 2 in 2011, but still, even after that, I wasn't getting any jobs into finance, leave alone investment banking. So I gave another shot to an MBA, and this time I was lucky to get into IIM Indore. And from there, the trajectory completely changed in my life. CFA level 3 I cleared in 2013. 2012 I actually didn't go because I was preparing for CAT and all. So 2013, during my internship time, I cleared L3. And by the time my final placements happened in IIM Indore, I got into investment banking at Deutsche Bank. So that started in 2014, and then eventually charter holder in 2016. So what dream I saw in 2008 of becoming an investment banker finally got fulfilled at 2014. However, the point was that even in 2013 or 14, I was not completely aware what an investment banker does, right? But again, even at IIMs, the thing is that everybody wants to get into investment banking. Things have changed now. I'm talking about back then in early 2010s, because now it's more about, joining startups, technology firms and all, which I'll come to that point later. But then I joined Deutsche into investment banking, and now how this entire structure was shaped. Why have I written aligned with Australian REIT sector and then aligned with India ECM product? What is REIT? Now back in 2014, if I had asked people what is REIT, people wouldn't have even answered that. But and then what is ECM product? What is India? What is Australian? All these answers I'll give in this session. Eventually, I joined Edelweiss Wealth Management in 2018. So the question here should be, boss, you finally became an investment banker, and within 4.5 years, why did you move out of investment banking? So I'll tell you both the pros and cons of this role so that you can take a calculated decision if you want. And then eventually in 2021, last line, I joined Wealth, where I'm currently doing a lot of things. So I'll take you through that as well. And post this session, I'll move on to the personal finance and XIRR calculation. So if you are convinced that I am the right person to hear, please stick. Otherwise, if you still think no, then you may drop. Okay.
Vaibhav, just to point out that the slides haven't been moving. So we are all still at the introductory starting slide.
Now?
So you may want to reshare.
Now?
At least for me, it hasn't moved. The others can...
Yeah, it is not moving. It's still on slide 1. In fact, the other slides are visible on the left pane. So if you can keep it in presentation mode.
Okay. I got it. That is what I was asking initially. So I think I should share.
Correct. Yeah, just want to point that out. Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyway, please. Thanks.
Okay, now I hope the screen mode of the thing.
Yeah, it's good now.
So were you able to see this slide which is currently over there? No.
No, this is when we're seeing it for the first time.
Okay. Anyways, I spoke about this. So this is the same which I was, it's like a resume. I was walking you through that. What have you, tell me something about yourself, answer to that. So, okay. Anyway, so let me take you through the corporate investment banking, a snapshot. So what is an investment bank? So basically, guys, in simple terms, someone who is connecting the source of money to the usage of money or funds or capital, whatever you can say, is an investment banking job. Now, how a company, so let's assume there is a corporate, be it anything, it can be a bank or it can be HUL, ITC, any sort of company. They would obviously want capital to, kind of function. That capital raising can be in the form of basically in the form of two sources. One is fixed income kind of a thing, or debt, and other is equity. So if you raise money through debt, which is either through loans or bonds, secured, unsecured, all these things, that is one part. The second part is you are raising money or raising capital through equity things like an IPO. So unlisted firms goes for an IPO, or a listed firms goes for a lot of things like a QIP or a block preferential allotment, preference shares, all these things are there, FPOs, rights issues. So these are two methods of, kind of raising capital for a corporate. And who gives this capital? There are various sources who are called the buy side. For example, mutual funds can be there. There are FIIs or QIBs, which is the term which is officially called qualified institutions buyers, and thousands, hundreds and thousands of these kind of funds are there across the globe. And it's not only confined to India. When someone is raising the capital, the company can go to outside India as well, depending upon how big, how large or small the company is. Accordingly, they will pick up the kind of the interested parties to invest into their companies, and then accordingly things happen. Now, this is not done directly. This is done through an investment bank, who is also called a merchant bank in this case. And the entire process is run through these middlemen. Ideal scenario, talking very crude, investment bankers are those middlemen who are involved in this kind of a role. Now, when it is called about, like, as I said, they can raise money through debt, that division or that product into the corporate investment banking. So investment banking is also like basically two divisions. One obviously is focusing on the corporate finance part of it, which I was just telling you about. Another is obviously the things like, kind of they are also involved in sales and trading, providing equity research. So a universal, or you can say full service investment bank is also got a lot of other divisions like asset management, trading, sales, equity research. But I'm not getting into that detail. I'll kind of quickly touch upon that later on, but let's focus upon the corporate investment banking side, because normally, if it's not a full service investment bank, this is something which investment banker does mostly. So 80 to 90% is covered under these four things which I have mentioned on this slide, and you can see over there. So if you are raising some money through a debt kind of a route, the product which is involved, or which is called a sub segment, is DCM, debt capital market. Similarly, if you are focusing on equity sides of the things, like doing an IP or doing a QIP, rights issue, blah, blah, then there is a product which is called equity capital markets, ECM. So let's focus on these two first. So because the third is M&A, is a completely different set. Now, what happens is that a company called, let's say, Bharti Airtel. So Bharti Airtel is into the telecom sector. So let me just show you the coverage part of it as well. So you know that these are the various sectors, right? You can analyze the sectors using, whenever you're even doing investment or trading, or you know that they are separate sectors for, the world is divided into through GICS or other nomenclatures. FIG is financial institutions groups, also called BFSI, which is banking, financial services and insurance. FIG is a global word. BFSI is generally focused, India specific term. There's industrials. I'll come to industrials later, but TMT is telecom, media, and technology. So all IT firms, all telecom comes under this sector. Why I have clubbed this is, it's not my clubbing. Actually, it's a global practice, because there are two different teams in investment banking, product and coverage. Okay, I'll come to that. Real estate, gaming, and lodging is also clubbed generally into one. Healthcare and pharma, obviously, they are very closely related. Natural resources are your oil, metal and mining, all these sectors. Consumers is consumer staples, consumer durables, all these sorts of companies. And then all other things, obviously the machinery related, or even aerospace, shipping, everything comes under industrials. So these are how a coverage team. So when you join an investment banking firm, you are either a part of a product team or a part of a coverage team. If you join a product team under ECM, which is what I was doing in the second half of my Deutsche experience, I will be involved in all the ECM related transactions, which is like IPO, QIP, rights issue, block trade, OFS, blah, blah. So many things are there. I have a slide on that as well later on. And depending upon which company I am, is my client. If my client is Bharti Airtel, there would be another team, a coverage team of TMT sector, who I will be working closely with. So ECM, so if any company tomorrow, which IPO is coming, I have lost track on all the IPOs which are coming, but let's say there is an IPO coming under the media sector, I will be working as a part of ECM team with the media sector coverage team people, and we'll closely, kind of do all the work together. What is the role of a coverage team and an ECM team? I'll come to that later. Now, if same company, if Bharti Airtel wants to raise money through bonds, I will have no role to play in that transaction. I might not even get to know कि ऐसा कुछ transaction हो रहा है. The DCM person, whosoever in the product side, whosoever is part of a DCM team, will be taking care of that transaction. So DCM person with the TMT sector guy, coverage guy will be doing the work together. But if, let's say, Kotak Mahindra Bank does a QIP or a rights issue, or let's say HUL does any kind of a capital raising, then I will be again involved with consumers team, coverage team guy. So this is how it is generally shaped. When you are part of a coverage team, you do a lot of Excel and kind of modeling work, because you have to create projections. If it's an unlisted company, you have to do a lot of work with the company management to get their financials and then run some kind of analysis. So a lot of Excel work is involved if you are a part of a coverage team. And then obviously you make a lot of pitch books. So what is pitch book? How the deals are initiated and how the deals are executed. That journey also I'll come to that later on. But ultimately the point is that there has to be a lot of PPT work and the Excel work at the initial joining stage if you are a part of an investment banking team. If you are part of a product team, which is like an ECM or a DCM, your job has to be initiation. Initiation means you will be trying to scout the opportunities. There are smaller investment banks who will try to go to the people, go to corporate and say clients and say, please deal humko de do. This is how business development teams work. But then if there are larger investment banks in Indian parlance, Kotak Mahindra is one of the largest investment bank domestic. I have the entire list again in the next slide. Citibank from the global perspective. These are the large investment banks who, what I think is that they don't need to go to the customers. Or am I saying customers? It's basically the clients. Clients actually come to them that please help me in doing this transaction. Right. So this is how it is. But a pitch book and an Excel work is very much necessary for a coverage guy, and product ECM or a DCM people should be knowing a lot about regulations, should be knowing about kind of when to launch a deal, timing wise. They do a lot of coordination work between different sort of teams. When I told you that there is a full service bank, then there is a sales and research, trading, and all those kind of verticals. ECM guy or the product guy will be a common kind of a stitch between the coverage people, research people, and all those people, because there's a Chinese wall and all restrictions by SEBI and RBI are there. So, but ECM people can be, can, as we say, cross the wall and go to the other side and do this under some restrictions. They can be the coordination kind of a thing. Then all the execution part is also the product's responsibility. So product initially starts the deal. Then when the deal is won, it is handed over to the coverage team. And by the time ECM team or DCM team is doing a lot of other transactions, because they do a lot of transactions in a short period of time, but coverage person focuses entirely on a lot of, kind of very, very focused kind of transaction in their own sector, because it's a lot of work. And then once the initial pitching and modeling and everything is done and the deal is launched, then again ECM comes into the focus or DCM comes into the focus and carries on the transaction till the execution phase. So this is how it is. And now we come to the next product, which is the M&A. M&A is the most exciting product for a lot of investment bankers, or budding investment bankers, because this is where the kind of proper modeling takes place. Lot of you would have been knowing that profit and loss statement, balance sheet, unko merge karo, then how kind of you balance the balance sheet, and then you see the deal synergies. You go about and see that which transaction is the. I mean, if today, let's assume a practical scenario. Let's say today Infosys comes to you as a banker and says that, boss, we have 20,000 crores sitting in our cash, kind of cash we are sitting in our balance sheet. What to do? Obviously, you need to give some advisory services. What can they do? Return the money to the investors either through a dividend, or they do a lot of buybacks, or they can, kind of acquire another company. So if acquire another company's question comes, then the point is, okay, I want to acquire a company. Tell me which company. So generally, if Infosys already has something in mind, or Infosys or any other company have it in mind, ki, this is the target, this is the company I want to acquire, then they can obviously go and acquire that. But mostly for the smaller companies, M&A team, investment banking team will help them to identify which is a good company from the synergistic point of view that they should acquire. And then if that is the case, when, why, how, how and at what price they should acquire that company. So entire the valuation with the synergies and all. Let's say there is another listed company which they want to acquire. NDTV and Adani ka jo transaction hai na, that was again would be led by some investment banking, but that's an ECM deal. I'll come to that later. I'd written a post on the open offer as well a few days back. But having said that, if let's say some company wanted to acquire something, so kitna valuation? Let's say a listed company is already at maybe 1,000 crore ka market cap. Now, if I am acquiring that company and if I'm not doing a hostile takeover or something, I would probably want to give the target something more than 1,000 crores, right? Which is where they show that synergies are there when one company is acquiring another company, let's say 1,100 crore. So that they also find it meaningful that aaj to meri company ki value hai 1,000 crore. What have you given to me? So you give a 10% thing, which is also called a control premium or something, not getting deeply into those terminologies. But M&A is a very, very lucrative job. So when I started my career off in Deutsche in 2014, I was aligned. Now I'm coming back to the introduction, which I gave. I was aligned to the Australian real estate sector. Now, M&A, wait, before going there, M&A team also works with all these coverage guys whenever there is, so this coverage guy has a great opportunities to work across the product. So if I am a TMT research and a TMT coverage guy and looking after technology as a sector, and so if Infosys wants money either through equity capital raising or debt capital raising, or it wants to acquire something, हर जगह मेरा role है. I will be working with different people from ECM, DCM, M&A to actually do this. So I have the entire thing on, kind of in my sector, how are things, I'll be the sector expert basically. But if I'm only doing ECM, I become the execution and initiation expert. But then I will be having an idea about each and every sector in the industry. So today I can be working with the pharma company, tomorrow industrials, and etc. Then finally there is a financing or restructuring, which is basically this is a separate team. Otherwise it is also many times merged with one of the above three companies. But financing is basically when someone like Deutsche Bank had a financing arm, because they could finance, they could give loans from their own balance sheet, because obviously that's one of their primary vertical also, that they can provide loans to the corporates at a low interest rate and all. But at what rates they need to give, if this vertical is absent from any bank, then DCM team actually kind of helps them to do that. So let's focus on the top three: ECM, DCM, and M&A, and then move ahead. I've got some chats over here as well, so I'll just go through what people are saying. These are okay. Dream folks, somebody said Dream folks IPO is coming. Yeah, sorry, these days I have lost track of the IPOs and all. Guys, can you please go on mute? I can hear some noises. Okay, so next slide, careers in investment banking, basically. Okay. Now you need to understand the difference between front office, middle office, and back office. You would have heard this about this a lot if you have kind of dug deeper into what investment banking roles are. So what is front office, middle office, back office? These are fancy terms, but not fancy terms, but eventually the roles are different. In India, if you join a foreign bank, it's a very, very rare chance that you directly get into a front office. Even from the top IIMs, I'm not talking about Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, most probably Lucknow or SMS, 5 or 6, top 4 or 5 MBA colleges. No other college, even IIM Indore, no other college will give you an opportunity in a front office of an MNC bank. When I say MNC, global bank, right? So you generally join a middle office or a back office. When I joined Deutsche in 2014, I was a part of a middle office. Basically, what I was doing, the front office guy is actually doing the client interactions and meeting the client, doing all the transactions. He holds the baton over there. He is talking to other banks as well. And because if there is a transaction, it's not necessary that only one bank's run it. There would be a syndicate of or a group of 3 or 4 different banks. So the coordination and everything which has to be taken care of to take the transaction from pitching stage to the execution stage is done by the front office people. But front office people, first of all, it are very, kind of expensive resources. And secondly, not everything is done by them. A lot of things they would say, pass it on to middle office or dump down to the back office. Now, when you talk about the middle office thing, where I was a part of, so I was aligned with one of the global sectors which Deutsche was present in, economies, which is Australia. And then I was a part of the coverage team, real estate, lodging and gaming, which I showed you. So I was aligned to that team. Now I was sitting in Mumbai, but working for those guys. The good thing with Deutsche Bank initially was that they used to send you to that onshore or the front office location for a good amount of time so that you get an experience of how front end, kind of front office investment banking guys work. And then you come back to, and obviously you gel with them because you have to work day in and day out with them. So in my initial 2.5 years of Deutsche, I spent almost around 8 to 9 months in Sydney office. So that was one of the lucrative things of initial first half of my Deutsche journey. Middle office, I used to do each and every work which a front office or a front end investment banker you might be doing. Only part which I was not doing is interaction with the client. And this is one of the biggest thing which you eventually have to do. More and more interaction you have with your clients, then obviously you find that thing lucrative. Otherwise, after few years, you will find a burnout that yaar, मैं तो सिर्फ desk पे बैठ के PPT and Excel ही बना रहा हूँ, but all the kind of lucrative kind of a thing is being done by your front end counterparts. So this is what we were doing. There were a lot of other stuff as well, but in my 2.5 years, I made a lot of Excel models, and because of my experience at the Smart Q, where I was statistical analyst or data analyst, it helped me a lot to create wonderful, beautiful models that even my global counterparts were really happy and amazed that I was doing these kind of modeling. Anyways, PPT, you do a lot of PPT stuff. So your entire day goes in making PPTs and PPT and Excel model and all. And then eventually you go on phone with your counterparts and explain them what you have done, take orders from them or command, whatever you can say, tasks from them. And then you eventually sit in Mumbai office and do. Back office are generally in investment banking, let's say when an IPO is coming, right? There would be back office guys who would be doing a lot of paperwork and support system. Even I would say that even us at Deutsche, whenever you used to create repeated presentations or some kind of slides or all, which is like your logo dal do, usme 100 logo dal do, 50 logos dal do, and this is going to take a lot of my time. So Deutsche also had hired an outside agency, which we can eventually say a part of an extended part of Deutsche office only, who were helping us in creating those, kind of that kind of a work, which is like your logo download karke dal diya. So that is back office. But if you're not able to start from either a middle office or front office, a back office, starting from a back office investment banking is also a good way to climb up the ladder, go into middle and then eventually front office. Middle office is not present in the in Indian bank, domestic bank parlance. Middle office, why do global banks create a middle office? Because obviously the cost cutting, right? If you hire the same person back in US or a UK or in Australia, it will cost you a lot. But if you hire someone in India, and the world understands Indians are great in, kind of these Excel and PPTs and all. So they know कि सस्ते में अच्छा काम हो जाएगा हमारा. So वो एक middle office का concept has come when global banks, we talk about global banks. Otherwise, it's generally in the domestic bank parlance, it's generally front office in the back office. So opportunities career-wise in India is top 3 or 4 MBA colleges, front office ka chance hai, slight chance hai. It's also not that everybody over there is getting, very few positions are there. Middle office, kind of rank 6 onward, 6 to 20 maybe. Generally, we can get into a middle office of a global bank. And then back office roles are anyways there for other MBA colleges. If you are not getting a chance to climb up the ladder from back office, middle office, front office, then how eventually you want? Obviously, time elongates, but a lot of you can start from getting a job with an equity research company. So equity research, a lot of people ask me that equity research mein jana hai. So equity research ko to I put it a little lesser than investment banking, because equity research guys will want to climb up into the investment banking arena. Until and unless you like a sector or 2-3 sectors so much ki yaar, this is my forte and I will kill it in this, right? And you make a lot of friends, or not friends, but eventually if the sector you are following, all the promoters and all the management become your friends only, because you're talking to them almost on a daily basis. So you are that sector expert, and all your life you can do that. So the reports which you see coming from a lot of these research companies, even investment banking companies, Deutsche ka apna report hota hai, Credit Suisse, UBS or Macquarie, all these will have equity research divisions as well, where they publish these company reports which an equity research analyst works on. Now, if you want to climb up the ladder to investment banking, idea is that you get into an equity research company with a domestic firm, maybe a boutique equity research firm, there are chances are higher that you can get into that kind of a role. And make your expertise, build up your expertise in one or two good sectors, and then try to get into a little, kind of a better brand name equity research company. If you get into there can be a chance, like better brand name would be like a Kotak or an ICICI, Axis, SBI, Indian domestic firms. Higher chances that these firms will also have an investment banking division. After spending about 2 years, 3 years over there, 1 year over there, you can try to get internally into the investment banking space over there. Or you can, what also you can do is that you can now, next step is try to get into equity research divisions of global investment banks like, Deutsche or Morgan Stanley or anyone, and then you can move into the investment banking. So these are few routes you can take. But the point is that whether you want to focus largely on the front office investment banking space in global investment banks or even domestic banks would do. Now I have become a big proponent of working for Indian companies lately. Okay, I started my job with a Deutsche Bank, but according to me, I mean, it's about, your comfort, where you want to work with. Salary differentiation is always there, but it's your personal call whether you want to get into a global investment bank or a domestic investment bank. I have, these are, I've just put in some logos again. Had I been in investment banking, Deutsche Bank ये काम कोई और करके देता मुझे, but कल मैंने सारे logos download करके डाले यहाँ पे. So basically these are some of the names which I remembered on top of my head about. These are some prominent names in the global investment banking space who have their offices in India as well. Most of them, all of them are in Mumbai. So as you know, front office basically will be Mumbai based. In the middle office of some of these firms are based out of Bangalore as well. So front office Mumbai has to be, back office can be some, or middle office can be some at some other metropolitan. Back office can be anywhere. There are a lot of back office for the IT as well, which are run from Jaipur, Pune, and all these cities. But and it becomes difficult from there to get into a middle office. So the best shot in a global investment banking is to get into a kind of a middle office. Otherwise, that research route is open. And then there are some domestic investment banking names like Kotak, ICICI, IFL, Axis, SBI, Avendus, Edelweiss. I had to put Edelweiss obviously and Deutsche because of my ex-employers, but these are some prominent names anyways. During those days, 2015-16, when I was into investment banking, ECM and all, generally in the foreign banking space, Citibank used to be the top bank. I don't know which is the top bank as of now. I have stopped tracking. And in the domestic space, Kotak used to be one of the best banker. But the bulk of the transaction, ISEC or Axis, it's about how many deals you do plus how, or what kind of a revenues you are getting, because not all transaction will give you a 1% fee or a 2% fee. There are few transactions which will only give you 0.5% of the fee. So Kotak, what I remember in 2015-16 is that Kotak used to focus on a lot of good earning potential deals, and ISEC and Axis used to, ISEC is ICICI Securities, and Axis used to go after volumes a lot. So this is how, bankers also think which kind of a deal you have to go after, and what kind of bandwidth or resources you have. So after this slide, if you want to drop out, because this is generally the life in an investment banker's life, basically, this is how it is. So I remember, well, I just thought I'll put this slide over there. So somewhere in May 2017, guys, I was doing a lot of work. So 29 days straight. I mean, the month of 31 days, 29 days I was working. And I was working, and those 2 Sundays I got off, where I was only on phone calls of working from home for 4 or 5 hours. But remaining 29 days I was in office. This was taken by my friend. I mean, there were 3 or 4 of us who were staying late, and generally 3 a.m., 4 a.m. was like everyday norm. And while I was waiting for someone else to, kind of vet my work, because my VPs and MDs and all were working from home. I mean, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो घर जाके सो जाते थे, but these guys used to, kind of go back to their home and review the work. So I thought by the time the work review is happening, I'll just take a nap. This is my MD's cabin. I did not have my own cabin, if you thought so. And उनका सोफा खाली था, 2 लोग की जगह थी, so I just, kind of took a nap. In 2017, when there was a lot of IPOs, if people who were active back then, in 2021, we had a lot of IPOs, which we saw. 2020 second half, we had a lot of IPOs. But before that, 2017 was the time when there were a lot of IPOs which were happening. And because we never anticipated back in 2016 before the demonetization or even after that ekdam se itna kaam aa jayega. So the resources were not, we were not many people over there. So all of a sudden, one person had to do so much of job. And hence, generally, I used to spend 12 hours, 12 to 13 hours in IB days. But then I, kind of started spending about 14 to 15 hours in 2017. Now, when I'm showing you this image in 2017, this is India office. Australia, I wouldn't have done this. So 2016, towards the second half, I thought that, I don't want to stick around in Australia because I eventually want to make my career back in India. And this is when I said that, I am completely moving towards working for Indian firms and this and that. So I was anyways trying to figure out how to move back to India because I had an opportunity to move to Australia completely permanently, but I never liked being there. So luckily, I got an opportunity to move internally to the India team. And then eventually I got an opportunity to work with the front end bankers. So obviously, see, when you are working with the Indian team in Mumbai and your middle office is also based out of Mumbai, it hardly matters that, you are working from Goregaon office or a BKC office. So those who are in Mumbai will understand the context I'm talking about. So I used to work closely with Mumbai people. I used to go to client meetings. So the life completely changed in that later half of my Deutsche experience in the 2 years. Now, this was, and that happened in late 2016. I did a lot of IPOs. I did ICICI Prudential Life Insurance. By the time, I had joined, the team was working on matrimony.com IPO, which eventually we had to pass it on to another investment bank. But I also did SBI Life Insurance. And this is only IPOs I'm talking about. There were a lot of QIPs and block trades and other things also I was working. So this is how my life was back in 2017. And then eventually 2018, when I decided to move out, this was the reason because globally Deutsche Bank was going down. Otherwise, I had no intent to leave investment banking career back then. But then when things were not moving good for the bank, then I thought what alternatively I can do in my life. And hence I quit investment banking and joined Edelweiss into wealth management space, which I'll come to later. And after this slide, and I'll explain why that. So we are almost at 5:15, 5:17, guys. I don't want to get into a lot of these ECM products or something. Just a second. Yeah, but otherwise, this is all I have explained you. Equity capital market issuance or sale of equity shares, primary 100. So there are two things which you should know, that when an IPO is coming over any kind of transaction, primary is when new shares are created, and secondary is when no new shares are created, they just change. And basically, if an IPO is coming, many times you would have observed that existing private equity investors or existing promoters would be selling some part of a stake to the public through an IPO, but no new shares have been created, right? It's just a sale of shares from one hand to other. Tomorrow, let's assume if let's say Zerodha comes with an IPO, I don't know, but if Zerodha comes with an IPO and just Nitin and Nikhil Kamath just think that was enough, I would want to sell 10% of my company stake and I want to get some cash. So if that's the only idea behind that IPO, it would be called a secondary, complete 100% secondary transaction. But if they think that I need some more money for expanding into, let's say, some other product, I don't want to sell my stake, but I want to raise more capital. This is where they will say that I want to raise 10% of the company. I am not diluting or selling directly, but dilution to ho jayega na, because pehle 100 ka 100 wo own kar rahe the, ab they will own 100 upon 110. So eventually percentage will reduce, but it's not a complete sell. So that's a 100% new shares created. So for example, DMart, when it came in, I think 2016 or a 17 year, it was 100% new shares created, primary issuance. And when there's some company who is creating new shares, no, then I feel very happy because they are raising money for expansion. But when people move towards secondary kind of a tranche or transaction, then who has the best knowledge about the company? The insiders. No, if insiders, like for example, Paytm came with the IPO, most of it, I think, what I don't remember exact, but I think 80 or 85% of the thing was secondary. So insiders knew that they wanted to exit, so they will exit at the best price possible, right? Retail investors or some institutional investors might not have that deep knowledge, so they will say ki acha agar 2100 mein aa raha hai, to then it would be good. But then people who are insiders will be able to sell, will be selling at a higher price. No? So I don't like IPOs which are coming at 100% secondary transaction. because then I don't see a value for myself. Anyways, that's the basic difference between primary and secondary. This I have already covered, and I'm not going in deeply into that, but IPO, FPO, rights, QIPs, preferential allotment, offer for sale, blocks, convertible bonds, ADRs and GDRs, delisting, spin-off. These are some of the ECM products. And I have worked on IPO, FPO, rights, QIPs, preferential, OFS, blocks. I have not worked on convertible bonds. I have not worked on delisting, not on spin-off, and not on ADRs and GDRs. So had I stayed there longer, kuch na kuch deal to mili jati. But all of these have different dynamics. I have one slide where, kind of I had the IPO kis tarah hota hai, but I'll stop there. I'll not go deeply. Otherwise, we can cover it after I'm done with the personal finance stuff. But the process, I'll just quickly go through that, how it starts. Basically, as I said, ECM team starts with an idea. So if you are a large bank, you will get clients approaching you. If you are a smaller bank or you are not doing great, then you will, kind of look around for companies which are IPO ready. So what I used to do at Deutsche was that me and my colleagues in different coverage sectors, we used to keep smelling, keep seeing that which are the unlisted companies or private companies which are matured enough to do an IPO. Today, I would rather want to go to Swiggy, go to Zerodha, go to all these companies, Ola, Oyo. I mean, depends upon their financials and whether we want to do or not. That why don't you do an IPO? Obviously, they have hundreds of reasons to do or not do. Then we continue to keep pitching. And then once we know that some company is very much interested to do an IPO, we'll reach them that take us also, because we have done these great transactions in the past, which is called credentials. We'll make the deal table, league tables, where we'll show that we are on rank 1 or rank 2 or rank 3. You should give deal to us because we have that requisite experience. Which kind of global presence do we have? Whether we can bring you investors from US or UK or even Nordic countries. I pitched, my boss actually pitched a lot to the Nordic investors. Nordic are those 5 or 6 countries, Norway, Denmark and all, during SBI Life Insurance IPO. So few investors came from there also. So basically Deutsche could do that because Deutsche has a global presence. But tomorrow maybe Edelweiss might not be able to do that because Edelweiss has kind of a focus on Indian markets and expertise in Indian markets. So generally we used to divide. As I said, there is a syndicate of banks. Let's say 5 banks are there, 2 domestic and 3 international. Depending upon that, each takes its own geography. Where are we going to pitch? Because we all 5 banks work together as a team. So initial pitching is done by ECM, and then obviously there are some inputs from the coverage team also as to if required ki aapka hum IPO is valuation pe karayenge. We are going to get you these many investors. So a lot of brainstorming happens within the teams, and then pitch book is readied, 30-40 pages. We get a meeting with the client. We take him through our thought process, our strengths and weaknesses, not weaknesses, so koi nahi dikhata, strengths. And then we get the deal or we don't get the deal. Every 10 pitches, we hardly used to get 1 or 2 deals or 3 deals maybe. Maybe Kotak or Citibank might be getting a 5 or 6 deals. Not everybody get 10 deals because otherwise the company can also say, na, promoters, boss, I don't want to do IPO only for next 5 years. Then why are you wasting your time? But the relationship management continues to start from day one, and you keep on every 3 months, 6 months checking with them, abhi kya hai? And then it's not only always, this is actually sales. A lot of people have also asked me that, boss, sales kaun karega? And this was the reason that I moved to Edelweiss also. Now you think sales is not like door-to-door sabun bechna jaake, but this is also sales, no? I mean, having an idea and then going to the customers, going to the clients and telling them, boss, take us in the deal and do the IPO. This is basically sales. If they're not doing then relationship management. Relationship management is nothing but sales. And in order to move up the career ladder, no, you have to get into that kind of a role, because otherwise you're a cost to the team. You're just making the presentations, you're just making the PPTs, and then eventually after, let's say, a Lehman crisis, the global financial crisis or a 2020 COVID crash comes, and companies have to do a cost cutting. किसको निकालेंगे सबसे पहले? उसको नहीं निकालेंगे जो आपको revenues लाके दे रहा है, but उसको निकालेंगे जो cost ले रहा है आपका. So tomorrow what they can do is that 3 people in that team, fire one of them, and remaining 2 will fill in the shoes. Because if the remaining 2 also don't agree to fill in the shoes or work harder, कह देंगे फिर आप भी जाओ. जब jobs ही नहीं है market में, तो eventually you start working 12 to 14 to 16 hours a day. So eventually you need to reach towards those sales or a business development kind of a thing in order to move up the career ladder. There's a story why I kind of joined Edelweiss, but in short the point was that I realized back in 2018 after 4.5 years of investment banking, making PPTs and Excel sheets and all this, that in order to move up the career ladder, I need to go into some kind of a relationship management or a sales stuff. And sales is a word, is a very, kind of people don't trust or value it much, but it's everything. I mean, if you are getting revenues for the company, nobody can touch you also, because आपके कमाई से ही पूरी company चल रही है basically. So in order to talk to the clients, that's also a soft skilled nuance. Hard skill to ho gaya, seek liya. You have learned enough of hard skills in 5 years that you can now start building on your soft skills and start learning about, kind of how to talk to clients. And I used to be a lot introvert back in 2018, but then gradually I realized that karna padega kaise bhi. If I had stayed in an investment banking, if not Deutsche, maybe some other company, I would have taken another 2 to 3 years to 4 years to start talking to people. Nobody would have given me opportunities before that. But then when I got an opportunity with Edelweiss Wealth, when I also realized that investment banking as an industry is also might be automated, because a lot of work in ECM and DCM can be automated. One thing which I did not talk about and I missed talking about is that SEBI has made it very much necessary that ECM and DCM transactions have to be done by a merchant banker. It's compulsory. But M&A में ऐसा नहीं है. So there have been few transactions we have seen कि company आपस में M&A, they do it by themselves only. They don't need an investment banker. But ECM and DCM need. And ECM and DCM has lot of these things as a checklist that SEBI has said that these all things have to be there. If in that, let's say 10-pointer checklist, 5 things can be automated, and they can be automated, then the scope of getting a career into the coverage or the ECM or these sector, if you're not doing an M&A, reduces a lot. M&A will continue to happen. Then what comes, where is the human coming into, kind of existence is, or necessity is that relationship management, because that cannot be automated, right? So eventually it will lead to that. Today, slides can be automated using the databases, Bloomberg, this and that. Aap ticker dal do, puri slide ban ke aa jayegi if you have a template, correct? Your financial models can be at an extent automated. You just need to put in some inputs. And then there are so many startups which are actually, trying to build ready-made financial models for you. Just the inputs are needed. So I gradually realized that now it's the time in India of wealth management to prosper, because people are getting richer and richer and nobody has any idea how to manage money. करें क्या इतने पैसे का? And you might be, lot of you people might be from tier 1 city or maybe tier 2 city, but there are a lot of money in India in tier 3 and tier 4 cities as well. Industrialists, they have no clue कि equity क्या होता है. They're putting money into land and gold and FDs and LIC policies only. So I realized that there is a lot of scope over there. So I managed to get an opportunity at Edelweiss, and then hence I moved and did a lot of sales work in 2.5 years. And I'm really happy that I, kind of made that transition. Anyways, coming to the slide again. So I've almost explained everything. So documentation hota hai pehle, then investor targeting, which I told you that going global to various places and then thinking which investor I can target for which kind of a company. That is all is done by ECM. Marketing preparation, ECM does, even the coverage team also does. Then management roadshow is completely ECM. Management roadshow means ECM person will take the management to meet all these global investors, domestic and global investors. Ki aap jao, you explain to them what your company does. This is again, management is doing sales also. So CEO goes, CEO, CFO, all these people go, and when they are pitching themselves, ki mera IPO mein invest karo, this is nothing but sales. So sales word is also very, kind of, is very misaligned with whatever we actually think or misinterpreted. And then obviously post IPO process is the aftermarket support. We are generally, kind of investment banking plays a part that in their equity and trading, sales and trading divisions play a part that will ensure, or underwriting and all these things, you will ensure your IPO goes through. There's again, there are a lot of other points as well. So I have opened the slide here. When I put the recording, you can just pause it and read it if you want. So this is what I had in kind of investment banking deck. Why I left Edelweiss also I have explained you. So everything is done. So I'll just quickly look at some of the questions if there are. Can investment bankers become hedge fund managers? Majid, very difficult, because there's completely different roles. Basically you need to become a hedge fund manager, you want to get into the asset management side of a thing. If you asked me that can an equity research analyst or can a fund manager of an EMC become a hedge fund manager, then I would have said yes. But investment banker who is doing this, what I explained to you, it's very difficult. Where does private equity transactions come into? Nikita, private equity transactions are mostly for the unlisted segment. There are very rare private equity who are doing investing into publicly listed, which is called PIPE deals, private investment in public entities. If we only talk about the unlisted entities, investment banking team doesn't have much role over there, because private equity guys anyways are most of them are the ex-investment bankers that do the transactions on their own, valuation and everything. Legal side is much more required, which is where they handle it by themselves. It is only when private equity guys want to sell and do an IPO, then probably investment bankers are required. What are the skills for a fresher graduate required to join primary level in IB? See, basically you need to understand finance, and how you do it, it depends upon, see, nobody is going to check in the interview that you know how to balance some balance sheet, or tasks can be given to you by the company, by your HR and all, but you should have preliminary degrees. CFA will help. Although CFA is, I wouldn't say losing significance, but there are a lot of people doing CFA now. So the competition has intensified. Back then in 2010, it was not much when I gave. But you need to, if you want to get a sure shot, kind of an opportunity into investment banking, do an MBA from a tier 1 college. That's the best shortcut you can take to get into the investment banking arena. Otherwise, I have explained you the path. You need to be understand about a sector, about a company, about a basically sector only, and then you need to understand the financial matrix, nuances, balance sheet and all those things, and then you can try for equity research option and then move up the career. Suraj is asking, want to know more about marketing skills or sales skills? Suraj, iske liye we'll take another session. We are already at 5:32. Please do a dedicated session on equity research and asset management too, Kavita. Okay. Now that I have started doing it again, now I'm getting more and more excited to do these sessions back again, like once every month. So I'll keep in mind and I'll continue to do this. How can someone get into wealth management firm who does not have any experience or degree in finance? Possibly nahi. Then you get into those divisions which does not require finance or sales skills, matlab IT, or you can say then there are a lot of back operations kind of a roles. So you get there, learn skills and then come to the front end. But yeah, bina finance, how will you get into a wealth management industry? Can I get into base level investment banking after CFA level 2? Himanshu, yes, but with very smaller investment bank, you can try, who are themselves wanting to make a mark. Ki, yaar, we also will do some transactions. Stick there for 1-2 years and then move to a better firm. But yes, you can get into a base level investment banking, maybe a back end or a middle end kind of a roles. But as I said, CFA level 2, I wasn't getting any great opportunities back in 2011, but that was also because obviously the financial crisis had just got over and there were very less opportunities. Do courses like CFP, CWM help to get into wealth management industry? Abhishek, yes. Smaller wealth management industry or wealth management planners and all these things will definitely value CFP and CWM. Deep Raj, for what purpose I need to do CFA or MBA? For what purpose I need to do CFA or MBA in finance? MBA in finance gives you a lot. When you go for an MBA, then the roads are open. I mean, you can do MBA in finance or marketing, you can choose later on. And you get a lot of opportunities when you are an MBA. In fact, if you are from a tier 1 MBA college, then you get a lot of options because companies are visiting your campus. CFA will have because you prepare for CFA while working. Maybe I hate people who leave their jobs to prepare for CFA, but while working, if you're doing CFA, then you can make a career move or a career transition, but within financial services industry. ऐसा नहीं है marketing कर रहे हो, CFA दे दिया and then you say कि मुझे finance करना है. तो मेरे लिए, for me, what I will say is that CFA should be an add-on. Even today, I mean, I hate to say this, but even today in MBA, in India, MBA should be preferred from a tier 1 college. Is there any alternative to CFA? Vanshika, CFA alternative to nahi hai, but if you want to take a easier route, I mean, or you can do a CMT, which is a technical analysis course, which I also did recently, or you can do a CFP, which is into more about financial planning. So, but CFA is 10 different courses, right? Then it is not like CFA is focusing on to one sort of thing, but CFA is kind of it will give you a broad sense of all the different courses in finance, and then it gives a perception to the hirer or to the recruiter that was she is serious about finance, and then probably I will also, because it's difficult exam to cross. So if I have two similar profiles and one is CFA level 2 or 3 cleared and other is not, other things are same, I would prefer a CFA. That is what I am not expecting him to be a champion in something, because it's again theory what he or she would have studied. How to get into risk management? FRM is the best if you are asking for some kind of a course, but otherwise you need to be good in mathematics and risk management, and try for risk management is also comes under middle or a back office of a financial of an investment banking thing. When you ask me how to get into this, how to get into that, was it's not very easy. Either you make a CV and you or send it on Naukri.com or so many people. This is the old traditional way where it is a very like a hit and miss chance. I mean, it's a very low probability that you'll get into a great company. But then see, you make use of social media. Na, मेरे को LinkedIn से कितना फायदा मिला? I am talking to all of you as well because of LinkedIn only. Write some good stuff, show some skill sets. Let me observe people. I have recruited so many people from LinkedIn only, right? But if you keep on posting something and I notice you on a consistent basis, you are doing something good work. If I have an opportunity, probably I'll take a note and give it, probably check it with you. Or the best way too is that if you have industry contacts, for that you need to do a lot of networking. So when you ask me how to get into risk management or equity research analyst or investment bank, it's not a sure shot answer यार कि ये करोगे तो ये हो जाएगा. But you're getting my point. Today, competition in India is too high, boss. You have to figure out some out-of-the-box options. So what would be some great finance books to read a guy like me pursuing CFA and MBA? Yeah, CFA ki books padh lo na. I mean, it has everything. So you pick up Schweitzer and then you just study them, or you pick up institute books. That covers everything very deeply if you are inclined towards CFA, which is US oriented. If you want to have an India focused thing or an MBA, I mean, see, if you don't want to enroll for a CFA or MBA, still you want to read great books, just read those books only which are used in MBA and CFA. Why to think about doing a lot of other stuff? I will be doing my master's from UK University this year, finance and investment. Okay, great, all the best. Is wealth management all about sales, and are there other aspects involved? A lot of aspects are involved, Abhishek. When you are doing sales, na, if you know about wealth management or you know about finance, sales becomes so easy, no? I mean, you are not going, sir, mutual fund le lo, sir, LIC le lo, sir. You talk sense to them. You talk, why do you need a mutual fund, or which mutual fund you need and why? You can talk about Sharpe ratio, Sortino ratio. Sab use karo, pehle samjhao. Tell the client what does that mean? Why are you proposing this to them? You have great skills in your Excel building also. I mean, you calculate ratios, you calculate asset allocation percentages. Why not? So it's not only sales, but sales will involve a lot of work in the finance field. Think about like that, no? For the past 2 years, was a lot of questions. If I start answering all the questions, how am I going to do the XIRR thing? What do you guys want? Should I schedule another session for personal finance and XIRR? Tell me in the chat, because I'm already at 5:45. What? Yes. Another session, no? Probably I'll do it in next couple of Saturdays. Ha, correct. Because you guys also would be like, Saturday kharab kar diya hamara. So ठीक है, I'll just answer all these questions and then we'll close it. Okay, so Ankit is asking, for the past 2 years working with a registered valuer. Great. Have a good experience in valuation. I want to work in M&A. Should I try IB? Ankit, very good. This is a very relevant experience. If you are working with a registered valuer, you should try M&A space in investment banking. There are a lot of investment banking or a lot of M&A advisory focused companies also, rather than the names which I showed you. Arpwood comes into my mind. These are like focusing only on M&A. The other companies or even these big 4 companies have M&A advisory divisions. You should try that. Do front-end opportunities only come to IIM, ABC, Shashank? Mostly. If you talk about the global investment banks, not the domestic ones. Domestic ones, other IIMs also get. But if you talk about the global ones, ABC or maybe Lucknow, maybe FMS, couple of other colleges. Kavita, how is the exposure like at boutique IB firms? Kavita, exposure is good, but you get a little, kind of lesser what do we say, value of the deals would be less. Management would be like not very professional or something. So these are some transactions which a big bank will ignore, either because of the size or because of the fees they are getting. But exposure wise, you will get a very good exposure working in a boutique IB firm. Nikita asking, thanks for the actually, it would be great to know about the private equity as a career with consulting background. Nikita, it's possible. So private equity is not only investment bankers go there because obviously they know how to create PPTs and Excels. Consulting guys also know better. They have better PPT creating, kind of skill sets, even the Excel. So when I say people from IB want to go to private equity, it's the same from the consulting also, because you are also consulting in a particular niche or a sector. No, if there is a private equity who focuses on putting money into those kind of companies, I think you have a good chance getting into those private equity companies. Gopi is asking, what is your take on quantitative finance? Great take. And there was one reason why I, why I did CMT also. And then eventually I am planning to get some knowledge into quantitative finance, because that's the future, boss. Agree or disagree, quantitative finance, technical analysis is the future now. Fundamental analysis used to be there, it will always be there, but it has to be clubbed with other aspects of stock picking, which is through quantitative finance. As more and more technology is evolving, no, I think this is something which will eventually be playing a huge role. US mein already it is doing. No? What edge does IB have over corporate finance treasury career? Vanshika, by the way, everybody, this was not a session where I am promoting IB. I am telling you the con side also. कि इतना IB मत करो, इतना कोई IB great नहीं है. But if you are asking me about corporate finance treasury career, it's about the pay. It's about, maybe you guys think that it's about the prestige. From an IB, you can get into a corporate finance career. From a corporate finance or a treasury career, it's very difficult to transition into an IB. That's one other thing. IB has much more exit options, probably into private equity or a venture capital kind of a route. So these are some of the other, benefits. Prachal, I'm a freshly qualified CA. What should I do to build my career around IB equity research? Yeah, Prachal, you know so much of finance because you're a CA. Do some work, no, put on LinkedIn. I mean, have some visibility, do attend your CA events, make connects, make network, and then try to get into an equity research company. Until and unless you get there, you will not be able to make your resume for sure. And to get there, there are various routes which are available, which I've already covered. So I think this is one which you should, if I tell you do this degree as well, that degree as well, no, I am not that guy. Although I have so many, I have done so many of them, but after doing so many degrees and all, I've understood degrees is only creating perception in the samne wala's mind, nothing else, right? Because you can pick up those books. These 3 books are kept over here. If you can see CMT level 1, 2 and 3, I'll give you all 3, read it. But क्या होगा? नाम के आगे कॉमा CMT लगेगा तो perception ही build होता है. Knowledge तो तुम्हें इनसे भी मिल ही जाएगी. Devanshu is asking, I work in the technology team with a bank. Is it possible to move internally to IB roles? Devanshu, it is. I mean, that depends upon which company. What are the policies? I mean, at Deutsche, we had those policies. At Edelweiss, we had those policies. At Wealth Desk, we have those policies. But what about your bank? I mean, you have to check internally. Gaurav, what role one can get after CA in this field? In IB, we had few people who were rank holders in CA rank holders who were doing the same job as I was doing after my IIM Indore. So CAs also get into IB, and CA somewhere I think that CA has more scope in India even today, if you are a ranker or something. ABC, good sources for tracking sectors, sector specific news, tracking best sources. Sector specific, so obviously you can enroll for some kind of equity research reports or something, but I have seen couple of websites which are, kind of focused on a particular sector, like a shipping sector. I remember, I don't have ready sources in my mind or links in my mind, but if you are on my Telegram group, probably after this call, after this session, I can put that in the Telegram group, the links and all. If you don't have the link to Telegram group, if someone who is over there, I know there are few people who are there, if you can just put a link, by the time I can answer the remaining questions, that would be very helpful, guys. Can you give a rough idea of a salary for a fresher in IB? Shinoy, that depends. You also start at 10 lakhs. You can also get to 20. If you are saying starting salary for a fresher in global bank, you can reach beyond 20 if you are from the top IIMs. If you are joining a boutique IB, maybe 10, 12, even 8 are a good thing to start. But don't think that, kind of if you are CFA level 2 cleared or 3 cleared and you are joining a boutique firm and then you are entitled for a 15 or something. Start learning first, and then eventually you will rise up the ladder. Honestly, in the first 5 years of your career, salary should be the last thing you should be worried about. Trust me, I have spent 12 years in corporate and I have gone through that phase. Can you please do a session on derivative trading? Sort of derivative trading I used to do for a fee, because that's something premium course. This I do for free because it's for financial literacy and career point of view. But I used to do before I joined Welldesk. Now I don't have that time. But I'll think to do it again. Okay. But give me some time to decide, to think on that. Okay, how financial modeling helps in IB? Ratik, financial modeling is, I have been telling, it's one of the core aspects of investment banking along with pitch book making. So financial modeling obviously will help in IB, because mostly in M&A you are doing nothing but making Excel models. In ECM and DCM and coverage sector you are doing much of the PPD stuff. So kahin na kahin to kaam aayega hi na, so it's very, very helpful. I have got some direct messages. Naman is asking, I want to learn financial modeling and Excel professionally. Should I go for FMVA or what should you suggest? FMVA is also good. And then there are few of the people who are providing these courses. Naman, Vishwanathan MBA is one name which I know. I know him for past 12 years now. Very great guy. A little expensive, but if you want to learn financial modeling and Excel, he's the best guy with what I know. I would recommend. Tum log jao to bata dena. I will take some referral fee from. Chirag is asking, sir, I am thinking to make Twitter threads related to finance. Will that help in my profile? Definitely, Chirag. 10,000, 20,000 follower कर लो ना, सब ऐसी तुम्हें नजर में आ जाए. So do that. Gopi, are there front end roles or sales in the quant field? I don't think so. The sales, quant sales का बहुत ही limited रहता है यार, because most of them are doing proprietary trading only. So client facing would be very limited, but obviously it would be there, or is it just coding and models? 90% would be coding and models, but obviously no role exists without marketing and sales, obviously. So there has to be some, but limited scope. Sir, would an MBA in finance or an MSc in finance? MBA in finance तो होता है, you need to opt for subjects. You can opt for, वहाँ पे दिमाग पलट गया तो you can opt for marketing also, but MSc in finance would be specific to finance courses. So in India, MBA has a versatile, I mean, you can do a lot of things other than finance also. Na? So people are requiring MBAs, but if you are very focused on finance, only you have to make a career. MSc in finance is not bad, but from where? Because MBA, so people can count. I've done MBA from IIM Indore, but I don't know MSc in finance, what are the best sources? There would be some colleges. Unfortunately, in India, I don't know, but there are a lot of colleges abroad who are doing MSc in finance or MS in finance or MQF or financial engineering, which are a great course in case you are planning to go outside also. I'm graduate in finance. I have technical analysis skills. And hey, what is technical analysis skills? Not that you know how to read charts, how green and red candlesticks look like, that you are having analysis and technical skills. So it's very, kind of, after I have given CMT, I realized that reading just charts is not technical analysis. But anyways, and can do Excel and PPD. What kind of roles I should target in finance domain? I also do swing trading. So name is HR, but you should try for some, kind of companies which are like broking firms, which also have their in-house trading divisions. I think if you have a lot of interest into technical analysis of swing trading, there are various these smaller firms with a proprietary trading arms. You should at least start trying from there. I am tired. Vinayak is saying, if I'm doing equity trading in US market with FRM or CFA, help me get into the good profile. Yes, FRM. Since you're doing equity trading and CFA would be difficult, because now CFA is focusing more into fundamental sides of the things or other things. FRM is into risk management. Because you are doing equity trading, I'm sure there would be some risk management things which you are anyways doing. So if you want to continue a career into that, Vinayak, probably FRM is a better bet for you in this case. How important is financial modeling for this? For what, Mohit? If you are asking for IB, it is important. If you learn it before you enter into financial modeling or IB space, then you'll get some brownie points during your interviews and all. Nikita, thanks for sharing the link. Kavita, can you please talk about your role in Wealth Desk? I wanted to. See, basically, Wealth Desk is a technology platform where what we do is that we actually, this is for retail investors mostly, where we bring the people like you who are investing into equities using mutual funds or direct stocks. And our premise is that, boss, you don't have time and skills for making your own portfolios of equities, then why not look at alternatives to mutual fund? Because a lot of times mutual funds are not outperforming the market. So if I am an RIA, this is a registered investment advisor, and I have a great experience, maybe I am an ex-mutual fund manager only, and I open up my own shop and say, ki, boss, kind of take my portfolios and I will give you an advisory kind of a thing. Then you can create your portfolios as an RIA. And then people like you and me can go to Wealth Desk platform, log in through our brokers, and then subscribe to these portfolios. And with obviously a thought process that you might outperform the mutual funds and outperform the markets as well, because then experts are dealing and handling your money. You get a lot of rebalancing notifications, because you don't need to keep all the stocks all the time. You continuously need to churn your portfolios. Rather than you tracking the market, some expert is tracking the market on your behalf, and you just have to press some few clicks and buttons, trust your advisors, and then look to outperform the market. Not sure, because nobody can say who is outperforming or not. But this is another way where retail investors can get into, build equity portfolios. So this is mainly what Wealth Desk does as a base product. There are other many products which are coming, like optimizing your existing portfolios, or gateways where you can be reading about some stocks and then quickly just clicking a button and can buy that in your account. So these are some sundry products, but let's discuss Wealth Desk in another session now. I'll look at other questions as well. Do you see CFAs thriving in India in the near future as much as they do in USA? So Vanshika, see, India there is still a lot of scope. India's scope has not got over and it's just started to build. But CFAs now the jobs also have to increase in that pace in which the CFAs are, kind of getting charters, which is like CFA charters. Pace of getting charters is much higher than roles getting created, and hence people expectation is that they'll get great investment banking roles if they have done CFA level 2 or level 3 is not going to happen in India anytime soon. And then what I personally think is, now, as I said, quantitative finance and technical analysis also coming into the picture. So you should ideally consider that beyond CFA, would you want to give a CMT or a CQF, or CFA fits your bill? So that's the difference which you need to, kind of think as to what or you just need to do some kind of a coding in Python and all, which is anyways the future, right? So I would say if you are less than 25 years of age, you should build your skill set into some sort of coding or developing some kind of a product ideas, rather than, kind of going after CFA. So depends upon what your career aspirations are. This is what I say. Think 10 years beyond, not like today. How to learn to make pitch books? Is there course available? Course, Mohit, you can just search on Google. You'll get a lot of ideas. How pitch books look. Every companies have their own set of pitch books. I mean, there are sections which are common. Initially, it will start from who are you? I mean, the company, what deals you have done, and then going into deal specifics, and then which investors. But the format or the kind of template for each investment bank is separate. So you just need to know what all goes into the pitch book. Just Google it out. You'll get a lot of free materials. Sir, could you repeat the guy who provides financial? MBA from ISB would be good to help front end. Krishna, yes, chances are there that MBA, because ISB, you already have 2, 3, 4 years experience before getting into ISB. So if you have some kind of a relevant experience, then when the companies come, then a good chance if you can get into, kind of front end roles. So yeah, ISB also, I missed out that name, but ISB also can be included. So Chirag is asking again direct. Chirag, I'm just speaking it out. Sir, one question related to content creation. What was the driving factor for you when you had started and following was so low? Just continue to keep writing, Chirag. I have a YouTube video from inside IIM Conversations, where I discussed all this in great detail. If you are creating content, why I took to create content, how it has helped me in 4.5 years. You should listen to it. 2x pe sun lo jaldi. ज़्यादा time नहीं लगेगा, but you should listen to that because it's a complete journey. I don't want to waste others' time, for that. Vanshika is asking, does ISB has great finance related placement? No, Vanshika, honestly not. I said that is why in the previous question that very limited opportunities, but yes, there are, but very limited. I have heard it's more of a consulting product management oriented, however, can't confirm because obviously, see, once you have certain experience, experienced people go to ISBs and then they have already worked on some kind of stuff which is relevant. So ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी ने equity research किया and then they do ISB and then they get into investment bank, which is a possibility. But more people, when they age and when they go into the senior positions, they would rather want to get into consulting in the product management these days rather than getting into becoming a VP or an MD of an investment bank, which is a career which you actually, kind of climb up the ladder and only make. Your take on asset management versus IB in terms of career progression, work-life balance, and intellectual stimulation, Gopi? Good question. Came very late. I always wanted to get into asset management from from IIM Indore. But होता है ऐसा ना कि एक company में placement हो गया, then you are out of the contention, only out of the race. So Deutsche came first, offered investment banking. I got into that. Otherwise, I wanted to get into Goldman Sachs asset management, which was the second company to visit, and I could not even sit for it. But I personally, again, I wanted an asset management kind of a role rather than investment banking because I wanted to be on the buy side of the things. Investment banking is generally considered to be the sell side of the things. And career progression because I wanted to be a fund manager eventually, or a PMS fund manager, or an RIE, or something like that. So that was the trajectory which I wanted to take. But life will not be always fair in a country like India. So whatever you get make the best usage out of it. No? Work-life balance, I don't know what age you are at, but work-life balance till 28, 29 is a concept I don't, kind of promote. Work as much as you can till 28, 29 so that life after that is brilliant for you. So this is what my mantra is. Again, which is what I said, I don't know your age. That is why I'm just talking to the entire generic janta. Can Python replace Excel, Prashant? If you ask Vishwanathan MB, he will be like, no, it will never. But it's not about replacement. But yes, by Python, when it has come, I think Excel functionalities also is reduced. Abhi to Excel ka jo latest aaya hai, this is very close to what maybe you can achieve from Python. So people who knew Excel ka basic or even the advanced Excel in Excel 2007 or Excel 2010 are very easily migrating towards the newer Office versions because they are very used to doing Excel. As of now, what I know is Excel can also help, at least if not completely, 80 to 90% of what you can code in Python. Replace or not, we'll have to see. Was last question from Vanshika. Could you please share a few firms to target which wherein enriching exposure is provided rather than clerical work? I have one company's name in my mind, which is Wealth Desk. So clerical work, yeah, it depends. So her company ke paas there is great work. Depends upon where are you landing, because there can't be any company jahan pe sirf clerical kaam hota hai, right? So it eventually boils down to what you are doing over there. Yeah. Achha, two more questions. Saurabh, you said technical analysis isn't about just reading charts. Can you explain what is technical analysis? I'm trying to learn. Technical analysis is basically 25 to 30% of the course in CMT is about the reading charts, but then other things are, risk management, system testing, system designing, because what CMT says and what technical analysis actually says that you should not do things manually. You should leave it to the system to do it. Design the system, code it, and then leave it, and then keep monitoring, which is the quantitative finance part of it. So there is an overlap. So basically, that a trend line aise ban rahi hai, if that gets breached, but today you might be seeing from your naked eyes, oh, breach ho gaya. But code it, you will be able to cover a lot of things. When you are doing all these things, putting stop losses, taking what kind of a position sizing, sector bets, all these comes under technical analysis. There are so many chapters which also deal with what time which asset class will outperform. It's not only the equities. It's also about USD versus GBP versus gold, commodity, interest rate, repo rate. Sab kuch cover hota hai usme. At the VP and president level, do the hours become a little less? See, hours become less what you spend in front of a system or a computer. What today I am doing after so many years in my life is that I am not sitting making these Excel models or, kind of doing a lot of grunt work, which my team does for me. But I am mostly on calls. I am mostly getting business for the company. And I work, even today, I work till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. I mean, maybe I am awake. I am there. I mean, available to my team, available to maybe clients also. But the stress is some other kind of a stress. My team will find stress because I will ask them कि boss ये काम हुआ कि नहीं हुआ तुमसे, because I need to present it to my client tomorrow. मेरे पास stress क्या है कि I am not ready for the meeting tomorrow and I have given a commitment, or my team is not ready with the product because I have already given a commitment and he will pull me only, right? So pressure is different kind. Work hours get lower, but stress level and the pressure keeps on mounting up and up. Thank you. Sir, last question, is there any good book to have knowledge regarding technical analysis? ये है ना अपना, how can I forget that name, yaar? Technical analysis by John Murphy. John Murphy. That's the Bible of technical analysis. Otherwise, you can buy CMT books, and those also have great material. Chalo guys, done with the questions. Janta is also reduced to almost half. 50 people still sticking after 1.5 hours. That's a validation that still I am doing good in these sessions. But guys, I promise to continue doing this. I left it for 1.5 years, but I really enjoyed your answering your questions. I'll plan something. Do follow me on LinkedIn if you're not there, or on Telegram, because I will post about these sessions there only. Right. So see you soon. Bye. And I'll put this on YouTube. So if someone has missed or you want to show your friends, probably by tomorrow, I will upload this there. Thanks guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.